people get through there are many things that we do, and one I know that we're going to talk about today is helping people after they've been scammed and some of the different scams to look out for. But a lot of violent crimes, domestic violence. We've had a rash of murders here in the last couple of years everybody knows about. So we try to help people get their medical bills paid, funeral expenses, counseling fees, and things like that.
And if someone, if they need your help, how do they get your help?
Yeah, they can just call us at the office, 419-562-9782. A lot of times I'll reach out to people when we get the police reports in the morning, or whenever the crime occurs.
All right. Speaking of crime, right now we're in the prime season for scams. You see them all over the place. You hear about them. We talked before we started recording podcasts about different scams, and you wanted to highlight a few today, didn't you?
Oh yeah, this is a bad time, and one of the big things we see this time of year, Andy, is the Irs scam, and so people try to intimidate all the citizens. Maybe they'll call them on the phone or send them an email, which are two things that the IRS rarely does. They don't call people, and if they do call them, they don't threaten them with police action. So a lot of times what I hear is, well, the guy called me and he said he was going to call the police. They were going to come and arrest me, so I gave him my credit card number, and and it takes off from there.
Yeah.
So and then I know our viewers can't see it, but I attached one of the fake emails, and they look so real. It's really confusing. But when you get these emails, there'll probably be some type of grammar errors that you might notice or things like that. So if you get one of these emails, what I would suggest is not to click on it. Just put it in your spam box and delete it right away. So once you click on it, they can get in your computer and then they have all your personal information.
I think another red flag that people see is they tell you go get gift cards, right?
Right.
The IRS has never said to tell you to go get gift cards to pay for something. Right?
Sure. Yeah, especially Amazon is
Right.
is a big thing, and then you have to give them the number, and then of course your money's gone. And we see that at a lot of places. We don't see it a lot with the IRS scams, but sometimes we do. A lot of times what these guys want is your bank account.
Yeah, right.
Right. And they drain your checking, and then they have your credit card number, and it's gone.
Yeah, and it's too bad. I mean, and unfortunately, I know. I heard they'll call hundreds of people a day.
Right.
And if one of them just hooks up on it, it's worth the whole day. That's what a lot of people know the difference and won't do it, but there's still going to be somebody that's going to fall for that.
Oh sure, and they catch you at a vulnerable moment. Maybe you're working midnights and your phone rings at 9 or 10 in the morning. They wake you up, and before you know it, you've given them stuff and you're back to sleep. Or maybe if it's my mom's in her 80s. I know sometimes the older generation, they don't realize that they're actually giving a scammer their money. So what I would suggest, if people get a call like this, hang up on them, of course. Call the police right away. Most of our phones have caller ID. A lot of those numbers are phished, so they're fake. But you never know. They might make a mistake too. So, but yeah, call the police right away, or the sheriff. If you don't live in town, call the sheriff, and they'll take care of that. And hopefully we can stop this before they get any of your money.
Well, lots of times if I see a number that's especially from a different state or whatever, I'll just let my voicemail pick it up. If I don't know who it is, I'll look at my phone. Maybe that's a suggestion. People just if you don't know who it is, just let your voicemail pick it up.
Right.
Yeah.
And I finally have my mom doing that now.
Right.
And it took us a long time, but we finally got her not to answer. But a lot of these guys, if they're phishing the number, they'll put the Washington D.C. area code in so that you think maybe this is from the IRS, it's from D.C. So it's it's just one confusing thing after another. And a lot of times before we know it, we're already down the path.
Yeah.
We're almost to the rabbit hole, and we've given them stuff that we shouldn't have. So
I think they get more clever and creative as time goes on, and they figure out what works and what doesn't work. Right?
Oh sure, yeah, sure, and they just try anything they can because they think if you have money, it should be theirs.
Oh yeah, right.
That's
exactly.
how thieves are.
Exactly.
They just want the money.
And unfortunately, they like I said, they make a lot of money doing this. Is why they do it.
Oh, they do. Oh, it's crazy the amount of money they make. Because think about how many millions of people. They can call thousands a day. It's all robo anymore, and then they hear it, and if somebody picks up, then they grab the grab the phone.
And usually it's from out of country too, isn't it?
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's another.
And that's why they're so hard to catch, because they're not in the United States. And,
Yeah.
but and then I've seen where they have people in the United States that work for them, and they collect the money and stuff. It's just a whole big thing.
It's
now.
a big network.
Yeah,
it is. It's a crazy network, and it almost handcuffs our police.
Right.
Because how do we trace all these numbers back?
Exactly.
So
it's almost impossible.
It almost is.
When they got a random, when they have
Right.
they have these programs that randomly put these numbers up that aren't even real numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, the IRS, that's a big thing that's going to be coming up. So,
Mhm.
I always like to warn people about that. And we always said it's not rude to be shrewd.
Right.
If somebody calls, if it really is the IRS, and you say, look, I'm going to hang up on you because I'm calling the cops to find out.
Yeah.
Well, they'll say fine.
Yeah.
But rarely does the IRS call. They always mail a letter.
Right.
And last year I got a letter. I made a mistake on my taxes. I got a letter from them. Then I initiated the call and got everything taken care of.
See, there you go. Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah. But they're gonna mail a letter. And if you receive a letter in the mail, if you think there's something wrong with it, call the police.
Right.
We are so fortunate to have a good, caring police force.
Mhm.
Here, Galleon, the sheriff's office, New Washington, Crestline, everywhere. So we're very fortunate in our community.
I've also seen the scams with jury duty. Have you seen that, where they're going to arrest you because you didn't get, but you have to get a gift card to pay for your jury?
Right.
Yeah. And I've seen them go so far where they've had somebody, a police officer, well, someone posing as a police officer, call your car, come up, call ID, call it while you're on the line, saying, hey, I'm such,
Right.
it's scary, it's crazy stuff out there.
Just be careful when they're initiating the phone call.
It doesn't hurt to ask too many questions, right?
That's exactly right.
Or if you feel, be skeptical about it. I mean,
Yeah, but they try. They try to scare us.
Yeah.
They work on fear. Is where they work. So, but yeah, anytime something like that happens, call the police right away on any of these scams we're going to talk about.
Any other kind of scams we're talking about, Jim?
Well, another popular one this time of year is the vacation rental scam.
Oh, sure, yeah,
the Airbnb,
Oh.
the VRB, and those are legitimate companies. I've used them. I'm sure you probably have too.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, these scammers will email you with a response, and it looks real. It really does. But let's face it. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Sure.
How many times my parents told me that over the years.
Exactly, and that's good words to live by. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. So those. It's a little different because you've probably already searched. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you want to go to Hilton Head or who knows where. But wherever your vacation destination is, and then they see that. So then they're trying to email you,
Sure.
and then once you click on the link, then they have your information. So yes, just be careful with that.
Be very careful. That's
Sure.
right. Yeah.
And there's a lot. Anything that wants you to pay, like there's one that's called the advanced fee. So somebody calls you and says you've won $1 million, but we need 1,000, right, to confirm it, or your bank account number.
Or the inheritance one. You inherited all these millions of dollars, but if you send this money, we'll make sure you get the money to you.
Sure.
Prince such and such is your relative, and they die. Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I get those all the time too.
I do too.
Those usual emails. And that, okay.
Yeah. And they're usually spelled wrong, and they're usually the grammar's terrible in it, right?
Right.
yeah.
So, but yeah, let's just be careful with those because those are big scams there.
Yeah.
So.
And unfortunately, they scare people and stuff and all that. Or not, I mean, or you'll say, hey, I didn't know I had all this money or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Especially in this economy, everybody needs more money. Let's face it. All the prices are skyrocketing. So just let's not be greedy.
That's exactly right. But again, if it sounds too good to be, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, but So those are some of the big ones right now this time of year. That we need to watch out for.
All right, Jim. Again, if someone needs your help, how do they get a hold of you? What do they need to do?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is just call the office 419-562-9782. That rings right into the prosecutor's office. Matt Crawl's the county prosecutor. Many people know Matt, and I work in the victim services section of the office, and they'll get the call through to me.
All right, Jim. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Sure. Thanks, Randy.
Lots of great information.
Good. I hope it helps.